Hi, my name is Zealan Turner. I'm the Director of School Communications here at PALCS. This is Winging It. I'm here with my guest.
Hi, I'm Nick Yund. I teach 8th grade American Nation for Team A. I also teach Advanced American Nation.
Welcome to Winging It. Hey, he joined me with the point. That was a good one. First of all, I need to open it by thanking you for your service. Am I supposed to salute you when I do that?
No, just like a good POB, pat on the back. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Oh, there we go.
Are you sure there's no salute involved?
No salute.
All right.
I mean, you can if you want, I suppose. I think
All right,
it's been a long time since I saluted anyone, but I think like right here above the eye.
Above the eye.
Yeah, straight
brow?
hands. Yeah.
Oh, wait, is there
It's
Okay,
like a solid 45.
like you can't bend the
No, don't
This
bend
is more like you're like shading yourself from the sun.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Just glad we're taking care of that.
I think a lot of people know this. Maybe not everyone. A lot of people watch the podcast. I have an identical twin brother, and we joined together.
Oh my god.
Yes, he looks like this. That's
he
it.
doesn't wear glasses.
That's the difference. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a big difference.
I don't know how he hit the
You
genetic
I don't
lottery
even
on
know
that
who
one.
I'm talking to right now.
It was like identical twins.
Oh, it's
And-
not
and-
even like a contact situation. It's definitely just like a he has
Yeah,
2020 situation.
Yeah, and you know what? He still eats gluten too, so I'm
So
pretty
it's
jealous
your
about
fault.
that.
Your poor wife.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So we joined together shortly after our 18th birthday. It was kind of a quick decision. Like, everyone's getting on me. I don't know what I want to study. I don't want to have to take out student loans. It's like, you know what? There's a war going on. Global war on terror at the time. It was 2004 when I graduated. So they were in the midst of what we call OIF 2, which was the second deployment cycle into Iraq. And we enlisted then.
So you knew what you were signing up for. You were like, this is actually going to be active duty. This is not. Like...
Yeah. You can pretty much assume at that time we were in the meat and bones of that conflict then. So yeah, we joined up. We enlisted in they called it a delay entry program. So you can graduate high school. So we enlisted in January, shortly after our birthday, and July 15th, we shipped out to Fort Knox, Kentucky for basic training.
Okay.
And it was 16 weeks. When you join the Army, you go to basic training, and then they send you to your specialty school. But when you're a tanker, they just send you to one place. You do the whole thing together. We were on the Abrams battle tanks. They give you a test, though. It's called the ASVAB. And the better you do on the ASVAB, the more options of things you have to choose.
Are they just testing your general skill set?
Kind of like PSSAs, but with like a twist of engineering. It's a basic math, writing, and then I remember for some reason I remember pictures with a lot of cams, and they're like, all right, if all these gears are attached, and you spin this one, which direction does it go? And then, if you answer that one right, I guess they let you be a tanker.
Uh-huh.
So they sent us out to Fort Hood, Texas after training. They send you home for a little bit. You go home for a couple weeks, and then they send you to your first duty station. And Fort Hood was in the middle of their deployment cycle. So when we got sent to the Cav, that's this patch right here, we were in the 1st Cavalry Division in Fort Hood, Texas. We knew they were going to send us. So I was in Iraq by January of the following year.
Did you and your brother make a lot of these decisions together, or?
Yeah, we were like a single entity for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, people will be like, "What does your brother think about this?" I'll be like, "Oh, this is what he thinks about this." I know because we're the same person. We actually enlisted together in what they call the buddy program. You don't even have to be brothers or related for that, but they'll send you to the same basic training. So we were in the same company. He was in 1st platoon and I was in 2nd platoon. And funny story, they didn't realize there were 2 of us for like quite a long time. And he got to go in 1st platoon, which was the best platoon. They were the highest performing. And so he got to go there, but it's only because when they called Yund, he ran first. And then like a couple days later, they're like, wait, you're not Nicholas Yund, you're Brandon Yund. Where's Nick? He's like, oh, he's up in 2nd platoon. And I was like, as the whole thing went on, And I was like, oh, my platoon has a bunch of dirt bags in it. And I was like, I should be in first platoon downstairs. But it's all right. Our platoon slowly forged our bonds over our tomfoolery, and I think it was December is when I left. December of 2004, and by the time I got to my actual unit, it was January. It's quite a bit of transit going overseas and sort of getting sorted to where they're going to send you, and I ended up in 212 Cav, 3rd platoon, I think. And I was a replacement for a guy that stole computers from the mailroom.
No
So
way.
they were getting, they were going to be jailed. They figured out pretty early on that people that didn't want to be there would do some petty crime, and then they would get sent back stateside.
But then don't you get in trouble?
Well, yeah, they would get in trouble, but like some of them, they thought it was worth it. But they quickly figured out that the worst punishment was making them stay. And so then we just had all these, like minor criminals in headquarters platoon, but they would get all the worst jobs. First sergeant was so mad at them.
Like, what's a bad job?
Like stirring a pot of burning feces.
Okay.
Or burning mail.
Mm-hmm.
But the feces thing, really, that's pretty much the worst job.
Are we talking about like chores? Or are we talking about like this is what you're doing the whole time that you're here?
Oh, yeah, like the chores. In the Army, they would be called detailed. Like,
Okay.
hey, we need someone to go. What were some details? Guard detail was a thing. That one's just boring, standing up in a tower.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it waste management. That's a good professional way
that's
to say
nice.
it. That's like the really bad detail. Like, you don't want to get on waste management.
Were you ever on waste management?
No, I managed to avoid that one.
Good for you.
I find that if you just do what you're told in the Army, usually people leave you alone.
Okay.
So.
Okay, wait. So I understand that you're like, future panic. What am I going to do? Let's serve for our country and avoid debt and do something wonderful while we figure out what we want to do with the rest of our lives. But how are you like Army for sure? Not like...
I read a lot of Tom Clancy
Uh-huh.
when I was a kid, and there was a book called The Bear and the Dragon.
Okay.
It was about a fictional war between Russia and China, and Russia joins NATO to fight China.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tanks in that book, and I was like, that seems awesome.
The tanks are what sold you.
Tanks,
is
yeah,
what
that
we're
was
really
what
talking
sold
about
me.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to ride a tank.
So how long did you serve?
What did I do? I was supposed to be 3 years, and I got stop lost because I was supposed to get out mid-tour. So stop loss is a fancy term for, we know that you signed a contract for this date, but we're in the middle of something, so we're just going to retain you for the convenience of the government.
And that's not a choice.
No,
Okay.
that's a for sure. There's like cutoff dates, but I
Yep.
mean, I wouldn't have left anyways. We were in the middle of the tour when I was supposed to get out.
Okay.
I wasn't going to be like, peace out, guys.
Okay.
It's been fun. And then they hold you, once you get back stateside, they hold you for 90 days. There's some psych evaluations, physicals, screenings. They keep you together with your guys you deployed with for a while. It really blows your mind, like when you go on mid-tour leave and you go from a war zone with like 16 stinky dudes, and all of a sudden you land in the United States and everything smells really, really good. I basically survived on like honey buns and Gatorade for 15 months.
Did you and your brother return at the same time?
Almost. We were staggered by a month. So I actually didn't see him for over a year. We're both at Fort Hood, but he was in a separate brigade. We ended up getting placed a little bit separately. So he was like, a few blocks down. The first time we deployed, he went first. And the next time we deployed, I went first. So I didn't see him at all when we were over there. We'd send postcards to each other, though.
Was that hard for you?
Surprisingly not.
Okay.
You bond fairly tightly with your tank crew.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 people on a tank.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you're often held in very tight quarters. I mean, the interior of the tank is much smaller than this room.
Do they do any kind of training where they're like making sure that you're not, claustrophobic and you didn't know it?
Kind of. Yeah, we go through a lot of tank simulators in training, in the basic training. And like the main idea there is to condition your body to no longer be claustrophobic or get motion sickness.
Hold on. Wait, how do you train your body not to get motion sickness?
You just keep doing it until you stop throwing up.
Uh-huh.
I never did. I would just get like those hot burps, but then they would just
Okay.
keep sending you until it stopped happening.
Okay, so that's kind of cool because it kind of feels like astronaut training, except for a tank.
Yeah. Yeah. Less flying, but not no flying. They can go pretty fast. Mine would hit 42 miles per hour, but Sergeant Vanderwaters could hit 45. He had a newer engine. I have a video. We dragged race through the city one time, and they won because they could hit 45 and we could only hit 42. It was like 8 feet tall, probably about 16 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
Very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Depleted uranium armor.
But only like can fit 4 people inside.
Yeah, well, the front slope is like 13 inches thick of armor. When I joined, because we were in war already, they give you this one. It's called the National Defense Service Medal. So if you enlist during a conflict, you get that one. Yeah.
Because they're like, whoa.
They're like, wow, you knew we were at war and you came anyways. Thanks, buddy. Have a medal. Everybody, no matter what, gets this nice rainbow thing, the Army Service Ribbon.
Okay.
You just get that for like signing the paper.
So you got 2 ribbons right off the bat.
Just for showing up.
All right.
Pretty sweet.
Yep.
This one I actually earned by not getting in trouble.
Oh, okay.
That's the Army Good Conduct Medal. If you can like not get caught underage doing anything you're not supposed to be doing, after 3 years, they give you one of those.
Did your brother get that too?
Yes.
All right.
No Article 15s for the young boys.
All right.
That's like the, I don't know, detention of the Army, I guess. Oh, these are actually unit awards. So like they're like, your unit was awesome. Have a medal.
Were you then suddenly like, I just had this 4-year adventure that was supposed to buy me time to figure out my life after this? Or were you like, yep, let's go. I'm ready.
I was very confident that I was going to reach the end goal of, fulfilling career, wife, children, white picket fence and all that. Didn't know how I was going to get there. The first job I did, I worked at my best friend's heating and air conditioning. They had always told me they would hire me when I got out. But, I did it for a while, and I was in the fire department, the volunteer fire department. I got my EMT certification. I drove an ambulance for a little while.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's not easy to do.
It's backbreaking work.
Yeah.
I didn't do that for very long. The new GI Bill came out. The old GI Bill was just money to go to college. But a lot of people wouldn't use it because you still, had to work full time and then go to college, right? That's a difficult thing to do.
Uh-huh.
People do it. They had the post 9/11 GI Bill where they would pay you a stipend so that you could afford to live and go to school full time.
Mm-hmm.
I went to CCAC, the Community College of Allegheny County, for 2 years, and it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do.
You just signed up and you were like, we'll
I'm
figure
just
this
going
out.
to college. They're
Mhm.
like, it's all right. Everyone's got to take college writing 1 and like college algebra. Just do that.
Right.
I ended up taking like a lot of, poli-sci and economics and psychology. And some of it ended up pretty useful. Like psychology classes are pretty useful in the education setting. Took my dear mother to church and they're like, oh, the Sunday school teacher quit. We need someone to do it. And so I did it. And I ended up really liking it.
By the time you enrolled in La Roche, were you pretty set on education?
Yeah. I actually enrolled there specifically for their education program. Barbara Gross, everyone here calls her Babs.
Mhm.
Babs Gross was neighbors with my wife's aunt, and she knew I was looking around and knew there was a job opening at PALCS for academic advisor.
Okay.
So I ended up interviewing, and
Because you were looking for a job, or you were like, oh, cool.
that was my shoe-in.
All right.
I knew I was going to try to, squeeze into a history position when it came.
Do you feel like your experience as an academic advisor helped inform you as a
Absolutely.
history teacher?
Absolutely. I'm much more empathetic. I think I would have been a bit of a hard nose
You think so?
if I hadn't done that first. I'd been like, turn your work in. I don't care if your dog died. Right? But now I'm like, okay, I'll give you a 2-day extension.
What is your favorite part about teaching history? Or some of them, because I hate being asked for my one favorite.
Live lessons are my favorite part, right? But it's always really fun when you're talking like about some obtuse subject, like the fact that the Continental Congress printed money, but it was worthless. Like, why? And you have to explain scarcity to students, right? But if you can find a way that you can relate it directly to them, that's fun.
Okay.
Like a lot of kids, it's like, are familiar with collectible cards, right? Like Pokemon cards. I
Okay.
always use the example of Pokemon cards. I'm like, all right. If you have a Pokemon card that's very rare and it's like a shiny, foily one, right? And everybody wants it and you want to buy that card, is it super expensive or is it super cheap? They're like, oh, it's super expensive. I'm like, that's like the British pound, right? It's worth more than $1 because there's less of them. But, Pokemon cards you get from a Happy Meal, they give Pokemon cards out in Happy Meals now.
Really?
Like, yeah. I have a ton of Pokemon cards in my house from Happy Meals. But they're not worth anything because you can get them from a Happy Meal. The market is oversaturated. Money works the same way. That's why the Continentals, no one would use them. So if you can find a way to take an obscure historical topic and make it relatable to kids, and usually there's a way.
What's the most common Pokemon card?
Oh, there's a rat one.
Okay.
It's called a rat-a-tat.
Oh,
Right?
I like
Very
that.
weak Pokemon. You get it in Happy Meals. Like, nobody wants your rat-a-tat, bro. You're never going to be able to trade that away.
I'm going to show you a picture of a historical figure. If you can guess who they are, you get a point. And if you can tell me anything about why they are historically significant, you get another point.
All right. If I find one that I know, I'm just going to talk about it for the rest of the time. So I seem smart.
Yep.
That's Sojourner Truth.
What did she do?
She was a famous abolitionist in the pre-Civil War American era. Who do we got here? Oh, Amelia Earhart. I should have known
That doesn't
that.
look. She's not wearing the hat
That's right. The hat.
or the goggles.
The lack thereof really threw me off. She's an aviator class, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic.
Oh, it's my girl. It's the only one I'm gonna know this whole time because I shape my eyebrows after her.
Oh, well, you tell me then.
Frida Kahlo.
A renowned Mexican painter known for her vibrant self-portraits and exploration of identity, post-colonialism, and gender. Oh, that's Frederick Douglass. So he would go around town running his errands and ask the other little boys. They don't know he's a slave. He's not supposed to read and write. He'd be like, "What's this letter?" And so through this way, he was able to teach himself to read and write when he was speaking at church in his, all African American community. And they're like, you know what, Frederick, you're really good at this. You should probably, give talks on the evils of slavery. And so he is one of the most famous abolitionists of that sort of pre-Civil War era. I have two possibilities. It's either Elizabeth Cady Stanton or maybe Blackwell. Susan B. Anthony. She's
Good.
on the
That's
coin.
who I thought it was. That's
She's
who I
on
thought
the
it was.
coin.
And I
All
was
right.
so nervous to
I
say
definitely
it's Susan
teach
B.
her.
Anthony.
Yes. All right. My bad. Hey, that's is that Thomas Jefferson? Yeah. Father of the Constitution.
Nailed it.
No, Declaration of Independence. Colonial wife.
Let them eat cake.
No, that's not.
That's not a queen.
That's not the queen. No, that looks like some founding father's wife. I'm gonna
Okay.
go with Abigail Adams.
I was gonna go with Mrs. Washington.
Martha.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh, you crushed that one.
That's because I watched the John Adams documentary.
All right, we win.
I think I got like 3 out of 12.
I just decided we won.
Don't publish this. They don't need to know my credentials are fake. Many small acts of kindness done by many, many people has a bigger impact than, one stupendous event.
That's really nice.
That's what I tell my kids.
Okay. Wait. Frosted shredded wheat is different than frosted mini wheat.
I'm sure
When you said shredded wheat, I was picturing the squares that are like the
We gotta
square
look this up.
and mini wheats are like the little bales of hay.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
The little bales of hay. And are you telling me you eat this?
I eat the little bales of hay.
Can we take that out? Can we excerpt that?